Hi, welcome back to BIM 360 video. And in the previous session, we learned about creating folders as well as adding contents into the folder. We learned about the different behavior if you add a Revit file into the plans and the Revit file into the project files, what's the difference it may be. And I also mentioned to you that we're going to learn how to navigate our 3D BIM model in the platform itself. But before we do that, I just want to introduce you to this function called sets, where you can create construction document sets for submittals. So in this scenario, all our documents are separated on these folders. However, when we want to do a submission, we may require files and folders from different sectors of information. And in order to group them, they have a feature called sets. To make use of sets, go click on sets itself. And I'm going to go through you creating some sets here. To the left, create a new set. So I'm going to type this set as 30% CD. And this, I'll just select an arbitrary date. Save. And I'm just going to create another set actually. You can see here it says current set. And if you want to create a new set, you need to click on Manage Set. This menu will pop up and create new set. Here, 50% CD as well. And I'm going to set as a later date. So this is the process of creating sets. There's another button here for create another. If you use this button, then if you have multiple sets to create, you should just turn this button on. Otherwise, if you only have a few sets to create, then you do need to use this feature here. So there is two sets, and at this point in time there's a 30% and a 50% construction drawing set, but they are currently empty sets because we only create the space to host the content, but there is no content inside. So in order for us to add content, let's say we want to add some content into the 30% state, we will not be able to do it in this panel here. We need to click on the X button here and go back to folders. And at this point in time, let's say we want to add some content from different folders into a submission set. And right now I'm at 2.2 architecture. Maybe A1, A2, and A3 belongs to these 30% construction document sets. I select 3 of them, and then using this this button here, edit set assignment, the 4th one, you click on it and you can pick a set here. You can move to a new set or you can move to an existing set. So the set that we created previously, not long ago, was the 30% and 50%. So we need to click on this option, move to existing set here, and I'll move to 30% itself and press save. So there's two ways you can create set. One is you can create immediately here. If it's a new set, that just pops up, you can create here. Whereas if you know what kind of sets that you need to submit already, you can pre-create the sets. So two ways to create sets. And click save. So this will belong, these 3 files will belong into the 30% CD. You can see which set they belong to here. And one document can only, one file can only belong to one particular set at any point in time. So if it's 30% CD, then it cannot belong to 50% CD. So now we can go to different folders. For example, the structural folder 2.3, and I'm going to add some of them into 30% CD construction document set as well. Same for mechanical. I'll just select some sheets here. And now when you go to click sets, you can see the documents pertaining to the 30% construction document sets. You can see they group all of them here as one. So there is another useful feature of BIM 360. So although your files are separated into their respective folders, they can still be consumed as one by grouping them together as a single set. Now let's go back to our main agenda, which is to kind of visualize our model in this platform. So click on folders, and we're just going to visualize the architectural model. So folder 2.2 to 2.2 here. And if you want to see the 3D model, you need to make sure the one that you are clicking on is the one that says bracket 3D bracket. That is the default 3D view coming from Revit. All the rest are basically sheets. So click on this itself, and now you should be able to see the 3D view. You can zoom with your middle mouse roller, and you do a left click and hold, you should be able to rotate. So unlike Revit, you do not need additional buttons or holding on any buttons from your keyboard. Just left click and hold, you should rotate. And to pan is the middle mouse button, you click and you drag. Up and down, left and right. Zoom is the roller. And right now you can only see the exterior of the building, so we're going to create we're going to use the function that's very similar to a Revit section box, so that it enables us to see the interior of the building. Okay, so that function in Revit is this one over here in BIM 360, section analysis at the bottom. You click on the button. You need to click slightly at the top, otherwise you use the default settings. There's different planes, X plane, Y plane and Z plane. Normally what I like to use is something similar to Revit, which is just a box. So use the fourth option box here. And you can see that automatically they provide you a box, but it's not where you want it to be. However, you can use these arrows, okay, in different axes to move the box. The white arrow will reduce the size of your box. Okay, so the one that is in blue, green and red, okay, when you hover over them, they'll be, if they're active, they'll be yellow. So you can click and drag on them. So it might take you some time to play with these settings here. So then you can actually now see the interior of your building using these two called the section box. Next, we are going to, since we are inside, we can see the inside of the building, we're going to do some dimension. Okay, to do a dimension, a temporary dimension, you use this one here. Beside the box, there's a measure 2. You click on it, and all you need to do is click on 2 points, and that's where they'll provide you a dimension with. Okay, this dimension is just temporary. It will disappear after you close this session of BIM 360. And you can see that it might not be the units that you are familiar with, and we're going to change the units. In order for you to change the units, use this button here at the bottom, measure settings. You click on it. You will see unit type decimal feet, which you can change to millimeters, and you can make multiple dimensions just by continue clicking on multiple points. And once you're done, maybe receiving all the information about the distances, you can click on the done button and they will all disappear at once. And as mentioned before, if you want something temporary, then that is the button that you need to press, which is the measure 2. The next function that we're going to use in this 3D viewer here is this tool called the split view mode. It looks like a book icon here. Let's click on it. And the maximum number of splits you can do is just 1 split, so only 2 screens at a single point in time. So this will allow you to look at your 2D drawings or your sheets as well as a 3D model side by side. So in case yours is of a different sheet, if you feel that this is not the sheet that you want to open up, this is where you can click on it and there will be a drop down menu allowing you to select any of the sheets that are in the folder. So I remember we are in the architecture 2.2 folder, and all these sheets belongs to architecture 2.2 folder. You will not see documents that do not belong in the folder itself. Okay, I want you to navigate to A3 for floor plan level 3, because since we are at we cut the view to be at level 3, go ahead and click on A3-floor plan level 3. And here, the document, the 2D sheets document here on the right side, okay, they are not a date sheet in the sense that when you zoom and click on certain elements, Okay, like clicking on the wall, you'll notice that your 3D view actually updates. Okay, and they selected the piece of wall here as well. So when you select on different things, they'll bring you to the location. Okay, you can see you might have to readjust a little bit. They might not always give you the best orientation or angle, but you can select individual items or elements coming from the Revit model, and it will show here in the 3D view. In fact, if it works also reverse, if I click on, let's say I'm not clicking on anything in the sheets, I click on the 3D model itself, you can see the sheets automatically navigate to that position. This only works if the element can be seen on the sheet. For example, if I were to click on something that is on different levels, you will see that the sheet does not change, right? So it only changes if you select the item on the sheet that is visible within the sheet. So that's for it. And let's try the last one here, the wall. And you can see this is highlighted in blue. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's in blue here. Okay, so let's say you're done with the split view mode. Just click on the X button here to close that side of the screen. And the most important, or one of the more important pieces of BIM 360 is for you to share or extract information from a single source. So how do you extract the information? If you just click on the element, it's just highlighted in blue and it does nothing else. In order for you to extract the properties, you need to use this button here called Properties. You go ahead and click on it, and on the right side you can see the properties of the element that you are currently selecting. So go ahead and select. You will see it changes here. You can see it's a wall, you can click it's a floor, and within this list here where you can find other information that are relevant to you regarding the area or the volume or the height of the wall or the floor and the level they are in. So all this information can be found in this properties panel. Obviously, to close this panel, you can go ahead, click on the X button, or you can click on the properties button again at the bottom. Before I introduce you the next feature that is available in this platform and 3D viewer, I want you to turn off the box. Okay, so to turn off the box, you click here and just click on the add box button again, so the box will disappear. It's basically a toggle. And at this point in time, this feature that I want to introduce you will allow you to search for particular objects or group of objects, and this feature is called the model browser. So turn it on and the panel should appear on the left hand side. So at this point in time, I'm going to let you know that there are tables inside this BIM model, and we're going to look for them. We're going to ask BIM 360 to look for them using this function here. So under the search bar, just type in table, and you can see they will list down all the tables families inside this BIM model. So there's more than one tables. If you scroll on it, you will see probably 20-30 different tables here, and each table comes with a unique identification. You can see their endings, the numbers are always different at the back, the last three initials. And this is very useful. Let's say if you know a particular identification number of equipment, you can kind of type them down inside the search bar, and BIM 360 will actually locate the element for you. For example, maybe my equipment is 180542. You already know the number, so what you do here is 180542. Press here. You can see is they found a table for you. You click on it, they will provide you the location of the table. So this table is being kind of blocked out by the view. What you can do is do a right click and you can use isolate. Okay, so this is the table here. You can see the rest are in a kind of a wireframe mode, and whereas this table itself with the chairs, they are still solid colors. So that's what the isolate actually does. And if you want to remove the isolation, do a right click and just use show all objects, and that will reset the kind of the settings for the view. So I'm going to type in tables again, and you can see if there's no families that has the spelling of S at the back. Here is only table, so it really depends on what is being spelled at the Revit model itself. So the Revit model, the modelers didn't put an S behind, so when I put an S behind here, then I can't find any table. And I'm just going to click on table, press enter, and you can see on this panel here, you might not be able to see it very carefully, but there is 75, bracket 75 here, which means that there are 75 tables in this project. Okay, 75 kind of dining round tables with chairs, 75 pieces. There are other tables and chairs. For example, chair that is a Viper chair, there's a couch Viper, a waste basket here, and other kind of casework accessories as well. So what you can do here is you can kind of isolate all the tables as well. So you click on 0195 mm diameter table, you do a right click and you do isolate. So now you have kind of isolated 75 of your tables here. I believe the reason why there is not 75 pieces because it's inclusive of the chairs. Okay, so it's chairs and table that is make up 75, not just the table that is 75 here. So again, to reset the view, right click and show objects, that will reset it. So this model browser feature is very useful for finding the quantity of the objects, or you want to find the location or the context in which the elements appear in the entire project. This is the feature that you can go to. One thing to note here is you might need to have primary knowledge, and I believe not everybody in the team will be a modeler, and therefore, for example, if I'm looking for a table and I go and type tables with the S at the back, then I might see here there's no results found, and I might not be looking at the accurate result because I do know there's tables, except that maybe it's not table. You can be called, instead of table inside the Revit file, it can be called desk, and I type in desk, there's no desk shown in the results. So you might need to know the specific name of the element inside the Revit file, and that will require you to work in a kind of more closely with your BIM modeler. But in terms of identification numbers of certain specialty equipments, that will be much easier, because all you need to do is just type in the number and then you should be able to find that object in the project itself. So that's all for this module. In the next module, we'll be learning more about creating markups and issues inside the 3D model viewer here. And so see you in the next one.